Thank you so much for staying tuned to Y254 TV. I hope you've had a lovely day today. I am your host, Cheryl Blessing, and this is the Power Talk Show. This evening, I want us to have a conversation that I feel like will hit close to home because this is a conversation that we've been having on social platforms, and so many people have been coming up with some ideas about this conversation. So I want us to really understand the root of maybe the basis of some of the things that lead up to the assumptions. And what we're talking about this evening is the impact of broken families on society. We want to talk about people who come from either separated parents or parents who weren't present, they weren't available to them, or even just emotionally unavailable parents. I want us to figure out what is the impact of all this on society, on the individuals within society. How does it affect our social lives, our economic lives, our psychological lives? I want us to get into this conversation this evening, and I'm joined by two amazing guests who are going to give us some insight on the conversation. I'm going to start with the lovely lady. We have Sarita Momo here. She's a journalist and a worship minister. Karibu, how are you doing?
You've been amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you for having me.
It's such a pleasure. Yeah, and I'm so excited. Right next to Sarita, we have Clinton Ngoezi. You're a mental health advocate, and you're the founder of The Right Fashions. Let me please say the name so that I get it right.
It's Verit Talent Management.
Verit Talent Management.
Yeah.
Nice, nice. And I love that. Karibu sana.
Asante.
How are you doing?
Uncle.
You know, I'm saying fashion because it's giving fashion icon. You know? Hey, Clinton, let me stand on us. The ladies are not prepared.
But you had some arguments that I didn't know, so...
Acha viatu. Clinton has walked in like, you know, anafaa kuona ile stuff ya.
Another plan.
I was told about this show, so...
Yeah, you came ready. Period. We love to hear that. We love that the reputation is to precede. But we're so excited. This is a conversation I've been looking forward to talking about because I've come across so many opinions. People who come from single moms, people who've been raised by single dads, people who've not been raised by any present parent at all. And I just want us to understand, are some of these assumptions true? Why do we assume certain things are the way they are? And to just kickstart the conversation, before we actually get to that, I want to ask you a question. Go to our platforms at Y254 and tell me, do you think so many adults are operating as functioning adults, but they come from broken homes, or they have some unspoken wounds, unaddressed wounds that they haven't really touched on, and the traumas that have come from families and broken homes? Do you feel like so many adults are walking around with wounds that are rooted in broken families? What is your opinion on that? Go to our platforms at Y254 and let us know what you think. When you look around your friend groups, your social circles, do you feel like so many adults are walking around with traumas from the broken families? Go to our platform at Y254 and tell us where you're watching us from. We're going to sample your comments as we continue with the conversation. So to kickstart the conversation, let's define broken homes. Because when I say broken, I actually did not like the term broken homes. You know, because it sounds, hey, ni nini, mbona kumevunjika, ni mashida, it's giving mashida. But then I couldn't think of something better. Because you know, when you say children from separated families, that makes it long. So that is the easiest way to define it. Unfortunately, we need to come up with something better. But Sarita, when we talk about broken homes, what do you think about? What's the first thing that comes to mind?
I think the first thing that comes to mind is the lack of love in a home, the lack of support, the lack of, you know, community in your own house before even getting to other people outside. Yeah, that is what comes to mind.
I love that. You know, I never really thought about it like that. The lack of love, the lack of support, and lack of community. Because you know, you can be in a family where your mom, your dad is there, your siblings are there, but there's no community, there's no love. All of you are just operating as individuals within the home. And people tend to assume one parent has to be missing, or both parents have to be missing for it to be a broken home. Clinton, what do you define it as? Do you agree with what she said?
Home, I believe, like we all understand, like home is where you can go and find peace. So once there's not that, even the smallest aspects of that, even 0.01% of absence of the peace you knew it existed, as you called home, that's no longer your home.
Yeah. I
That's
love
no
that, because home is where you find peace, you find love, you find community.
Yeah.
But if there's an absence of that, then something is missing.
Yeah.
It's broken to some extent. And going back to the common conception that people have, we assume broken homes are about separated parents, and we have a few of that. In African societies, it wasn't a major thing. Back in the day, you know, parents walikuwa hata wanakaa pamoja hata kama mapenzi ilisha 10 years ago. You know, there was we have to stay together for the kids.
The endurance.
You know, the endurance. And sometimes the children can pick up on that. You know, adults assume, no, we've done a good job at concealing this. But children are picking up on some things and saying, oh, okay, so mom and dad don't really care about each other, or this is the way they're supposed to treat each other. And so many things are communicated non-verbally. And also just people who come from homes where there's a single parent, a single mom or dad, there's just some communication that is non-verbal that you get. And then you figure out, oh, I'm supposed to, this is what a relationship should look like. Sarita, do you have, let me make it personal. Do you have an experience, because you've shared that you come from a family with a single parent. So are there some non-verbal communications that you picked up, and which parent was unavailable, or which one was the one that was present?
I really think my mom did a good job. She did a good job. Shout out, mom. But looking at how far I've come, there's that aspect of, hey, dad, where are you? You know, wanting to know, like, okay, I want to learn this. I can't go to my mom because, you know, mom is mom, dad is dad. Where is dad? I need dad. You know, and there's some times where maybe you're mad at mom. Dad, where are you? Nitakusema kwa nani? You know? Nitakusema kwa nani? Yeah, so like, it's been that, but I really love my mom so much. She's done an amazing job. Because looking at how I've ended up in life, you can't even tell that there's some things that are missing. I met a friend, okay, we're not that close, and I was like, you know, my dad left. She was like, your dad? You don't have a dad? You know, because of how good my mom has, you know, worked on me. But looking at even our generation, like I'm 20, so looking at people my age and how they conceive, you know, family, the aspect of love, relationships, you can tell that there's something missing. You can tell that maybe, you know, I saw my dad beating my mom, so I'm supposed to beat every other woman. I saw my mom shouting at my dad, so I'm expecting my wife to shout at me, and there's that gap. And there's a lot. I like that you brought that up. First of all, shout out to your mom. Shout out to did mom. Amazing. And unfortunately, so many people are affected. We can tell by the way their relationships are. I was having a conversation last week, and one of the major takeaways from that is people believe relationships should be transactional. We've accepted it. It's like, we're here for money, we're here for something. There has to be a give and take. And some of these faulty ideologies we have, it's because of the home settings that we've come from. Sometimes we've seen homes where both parents are present, but you feel like one of them is not available. You know, there is that gap that ako, but Ayuko, you know. Clinton, growing up, were your parents both present, and how was that? How was your upbringing?
I'm privileged. I witnessed my mom and my dad really being together, but at the age of 9, 10, I lost my dad, and then my mom was now the father and the mother of so much that happened until now. I happened also to lose my mom 2 years ago for cancer. But what I can say, I've also witnessed that under now the talent management, because I get kids from various, you know, sources. Others without mom, others without dad. And by really experiencing what they are going through, now makes me understand how mine was even at least better. Right? Or really what I missed. Or maybe what I missed then. Because these kids, or us, all human beings, how are we gotten to this level? It's an accumulation of maybe food and impressions and experiences over a period of time. When you were born, you were this much, but right now we are even intellectual. Like, there is growth in all dimensions.
Yeah.
And this growth, some of them we pick and others we just, every single day we are imbibing, we are taking in something. So that's an environment that I can really feel gives birth to more and more broken relationships, because those, the first fragile one that led to a certain dimension of a human being experience, or maybe even conclusion. Right now, you'll wonder why a kid of maybe 13 years, 14 years, 15, 18, below, telling you like she or he's not into relationships or marriage.
Yeah.
And then you ask yourself, how many times has he or she been married before?
Relationship, yeah.
What happened? Because there was a million of years she witnessed marriage through the two that didn't sit all right to her or him.
Yeah.
Now, that's the conclusion he or she has. That's why, like, there is so much that is happening. To find a genuine relationship is something rare.
It's become more
It's rare.
difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
And
really
then the
rare.
fact that the stories are public.
Yeah.
You know, everyone can share and say, you know, my dad did this, my mom did this,
Yeah, yeah.
my parents,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
So you can find someone who's even come from a proper home,
Yeah.
and they've been brought up seeing mom, dad
Yeah.
in love together.
Yeah.
They start thinking, okay, maybe it's just my dad who's the exception,
Yeah.
and all other guys
Yeah.
are different, you know.
Like, I was sharing with my friend, I was telling him this in line to what you're trying to say.
Yeah.
There might be good marriages out there, but by the fact nobody's trying to amplify them,
Yes.
we will never notice them. This
That's
is what can
true.
happen. If today we exist, the three of us, with two legs, and the rest of the universe, everybody is with one leg, I swear, like tomorrow we shall wake up, kata yako, we fit into.
Yes, there's
You
that
getting
thing
it?
of wanting to
Yeah,
conform
yeah.
to the world.
By the fact majority are saying or going by the influence of the numbers,
Yeah.
now we are into it.
That's true.
That's why I can wake up in the morning and say, fuck relationship or what, you know, there's no, you know, and all that. So
Yeah.
sometimes not because of our experience, sometimes because of what has
we
influenced
observe.
us and all that.
And that's very, very true, because
Yeah.
I've come across so many concepts of, especially recently, people saying men are cheaters,
Yeah.
you know, men are unfaithful, because there are so many stories that are coming out of people being unfaithful.
Yeah.
But at the same time, we ignore the fact that women are also being unfaithful every other day,
Yeah.
but those stories are not being made
Yeah,
public.
or even-
Successful marriages, sorry,
Sorry.
you see in the successful marriages, as you're saying,
Yeah.
there's so many cases of people who've been together for even 50, 70 years, but we don't talk about it as much.
Yeah.
We focus on the drama of the
one that,
negativity
you know,
of,
yeah.
oh my God, they were married for 20 and then he cheated.
Yeah.
How dare he?
Yeah.
You know, we want to fixate on that. And then unfortunately, sometimes it breeds some wrong ideologies, and people start picking up the wrong notions of, yeah, you know, perhaps men are unfaithful and all men should not be trusted. And it's just a few people. Another thing I want to talk about is, let me they need to say Rita, because I came from a home where my mom was also a single mom. And for so many years, first of all, when I was a kid, I didn't even notice my dad wasn't there, because he wasn't, but then I was okay, because my mom provided everything. I had an extended family also with my aunts and all that, so I was really okay. I noticed when I was in class 5 or 6, so I was in school chatting with my friends, and then one of them asked, by the way, you always talk about your mom. How come you never talk about your dad? Yeah. And then I was like, oh,
right.
Oh, you know? Yeah. And then at some point, I even started making up false stories, because I don't know what to say. And you know, my mom was also concealing this story. She didn't want me to know everything. So she would just say, your dad is abroad, he's this and that. You know, she didn't want to, because you know, sometimes the way the mom will want to paint a negative picture of your dad left us and he's a horrible person. No, my mom was like, that's your dad. He's just away. He'll come back. Don't worry. You look like him. She was reassuring me. But then I didn't realize I was missing something up until someone externally said, you know, a family has a mom and a dad.
Yeah.
So why do you never talk about your dad?
Yeah.
And I get, especially when you're a child, there's so many of those questions that we have sometimes. You may have everything, but because someone else has pointed out something, or you start noticing, oh, this other family has a mom, dad, and they go out every Sundays. So why is it just mom and I? You know, did you get to a point where you were really questioning and even wanting to find out, where is he? Why is he not present?
Yes, I did. I remember I had seen him once, twice, you know, hapa na kule, and then he vanished, you know, and I was like, are you? Like, you told me you're coming for my birthday, you know? Where are you? Like, it's my birthday, it's 1 month after my birthday, I've not seen you. I remember, I guess I was in standard 6 then, and he was like, you know, for your birthday, I'm getting you a bike. And you know, obviously, as a kid, you know, my dad is getting me a bike.
Hey,
what are you talking about?
You told everyone
Excuse me, when I get a bike, I won't give you my bike. Why you choose?
And it's going to be pink.
Did the bike come? I'm still waiting for the bike though.
Did you find it hard? Was there ever a period where you found it hard to even interact with kids your age? Because you felt like...
because they have something I don't have. And I don't understand why I don't have it. Like, you just left, you didn't say anything. I'm waiting for my bike, you know? You left. And I think I started getting bitter at some point. Because, you know, when people are talking about their dads, I'm like, you don't know what dads are. Please, you know.
Let's change the conversation.
Let's please. I can't. You guys are just talking about some, you know. But then, I think.
And those are some of the small things. You've said at some point you got bitter. So I later on I'm going to maybe ask how you got to the point of just making amends with that, or if you are still trying to make amends with that. Because I know it's always like an ongoing process, and it's never easy. I feel like, especially when you're a child, when you're a teenager, you don't really understand because your brain hasn't fully conceptualized that people separate and it's okay and this happens and you know, it just happens. But then when you're a child, you want answers and we expect the answers to make sense. If it doesn't make sense, then that's not an answer. Tell me something else. And unfortunately, as you've said, you're working with kids who you're experiencing that because they've been brought up by seeing some things and around certain environments, they have some mindset. And as you're saying, at some point you became bitter. Kids become bitter. Teenagers become bitter. They say, my dad broke my heart, so I don't even care for men. You know, we transfer that pain to someone else. Do you find them transferring that pain to even their relationships, their schoolwork, their social lives? Do you notice the teenagers that you work with who come from that doing that?
One thing with teens or the kids is that they have highest percentage of emotions. Most of their decisions they're making are based on emotions capacity. So by being full of who they are or what situation has really placed them into, with limited amount of knowledge of how to get out of that situation or not really knowing how to get out of those situations, they become naturally toxic. You've ever seen a kid who is always like, he's beating so-and-so, or just, you know,
always in trouble.
It is not, it's a result of something. Because kids, they need the 2 dimensions, the mother dimension and the father dimension. Yes, you can find one has existed that has dominated until the absence of the other dimension is missing. Maybe the fatherhood or maybe the motherhood. So when that happens, over a period of time, these kids turns into a certain individual that is having absence of a certain capacity of the other partner or the other parent. You know? So that now brings such kind of a kid until now it makes him an individual. Individual means like we can be twins. Me and you, we can be a twin, but you're not individuals. Your individualism is yours, mine is mine. Because let's say, for example, the moment I was being, maybe I'm being sent to a shop, and then she's being sent to cook, and then something burns her. And then when I was going to the shop, something also happened to me. There's 2 different experiences we have received. Right? And these shall help us or cause us continue with that understanding moving forward in those specific lines that these 2 different experiences have caused us. So I feel this is the stage where we can really focus on to nurture a greater environment for relationships. Because if we don't do something to heal that level of maybe at that age, it grows. That's why you'll find even the greatest person in this world, the person who has been so close to that person will tell you there's a certain stupidity this guy always has. Even the president, the wife shall tell you like there is, you know, it's something he has been having along the way.
Yeah.
Right? So we must also bring that balance to the kids. As much as a relationship or friendship or marriage can end, that had resulted to an existence. Let's remember, like, a kid is the greatest product of any engagement in terms of friendship and relationship.
That is true.
So this grows to the next generations, and
it's
shall have
passed
these
on.
discussions for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you, because that's the most, especially when they're teenagers, the kids and the teenage age, because that's when you can really shape and form a child. You know, they're the consequence of the environment, the direct environment, the people they hang around with. And sometimes if you do not heal that wound then, they don't even realize it when they're adults. You know, there are people who don't even have the awareness of, oh my God, I'm probably traumatized because I witnessed abuse in my home. And it's not something that was naturally in them, but it's because they picked up 1, 2, 3
Life
things from
them.
the environment, you know. And unfortunately, we sometimes neglect that age. You know, sometimes we look at children and we're like, sini mtoto, haelewi, hajui. And even the teenagers, sometimes we minimize their emotions. We fail to understand that, as much as, yes, they may be overly emotional, it's because they're going through so many changes. They're trying to understand the world. They're transitioning from childhood to adulthood. And if we do not deal with that pain, then it becomes harder to even deal with it when we're adults. So, Sarita, let me now pass it to you in regards to maybe your relations with the other gender. Because at that teenage age, that's when, you know, your adolescence in a heat, you start realizing if you like a guy or if you have a crush, you know. Then you get to high school and then your girlfriends are like, yeah, you know, my boyfriend did this, my boyfriend did that. How was your relations with the opposite gender? Did you feel like you could relate with them easily, or was it a bit more difficult for you to understand the opposite gender?
I feel for me it was easier. Because now I went looking for something I don't have in them. You know, as a teenager, hey boys. You know,
show you shaggy.
You know, looking around and seeing young girls, I really get them, because you find that it's something they miss at home. They go looking for in those young boys, in older men.
That's true.
And you know, most people are quick to judge, like, she's 20, why is she dealing with a 35-year-old man? Or it's because they lacked something. And for me, before I even got to become sane, let me say quote-unquote sane, I used to look for it in boys, like, this guy loves me. Like, so just, he's showing me love. My dad couldn't give me love. And you'd find that the number one pickup line is, you know, I won't leave you like your father.
I'm going to be
friends.
And you know, sometimes, unfortunately, people will capitalize on your trauma. They're like, oh, you kind of have daddy issues. So they'll come and be like, yeah, I'm going to be there for you. I'm never going to leave you.
You have not left you. They'll do everything, and then they're like, I've not left you.
And even the opposite, you know, and even the opposite, people with mommy issues, the girls come and they're like, lovey-dovey, they're being like,
call me mama.
You know. And unfortunately, what you said was also true. Sometimes people, because most of the times, not even sometimes, most of the times we're looking for what we didn't find at home. So we look for it in our partners. And you and you, Mesema, the case, your scenario, a 20-year-old dating a 35-year-old, someone might fail to understand why you're dating, because they'll say maybe this is Mbaba. But in your mind, you're looking for a mature man who's maybe like fatherly, you know, kidogo, who's going to be like caring, compassionate, and who's going to treat you like a child. But unfortunately, sometimes society looks at things as black and white. You're young, he's old, the end. We don't want to understand what
happened.
And recently, that's when we're talking about the mental issues, the psychological effects of separation and homes where, especially emotional unavailability. Because it's one thing to have a parent who's absent, and it's a completely different thing to have a parent who's there, but a parent who doesn't care about you. You know, you can have a dad who's there, but he does not even give you 5 minutes of his time. He's always busy. Nule akingia hivi kwa nyumba mnafaa mtoke mbio
mnaenda bedrooms.
Mnaenda bedroom sasa mfai kusikika kwa hiyo nyumba, you know. And sometimes in our homes, especially the African homes, the moms used to nurture the relationships, because there was this training in the past of you don't leave your marriage, you stay with your man and you make your home. So kulikuwa saa ingine unaona mtu amecompromise vitu zingine unajiuliza,
sister.
is everything okay? Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
You know, and there are homes where baba anachapa mama, very violent. The kids witness that.
Yeah.
After a few months, wamerudiana, everything is okay. But the kids do not forget, I
Yeah.
saw
Yeah.
dad beating
Yeah.
up mom one time. And it's still so traumatizing to the children. Even the arguing, sometimes the fighting, yenye watoto wanakusia wako kwa bedroom, wako tu kwa menyamaza, wanasikia tu back and forth, wako like, hey, kwani nini inaendelea?
Yeah.
Yeah.
How can we prevent this sometimes? Because you know the adults, it's upon the adults now. Now we are the new adults. You know, now when we become
Yeah.
moms, dads, how can we prevent instances like that? Because sometimes the adults neglect to factor in the children. We're like, si amelala, huyu ni mtoto, haielewi. But how can the adults, how do we feel like the adults should handle conflict? Should conflict be handled in front of the children? Should the children be made aware? Should they know that kuna shida? Mom, leo tumekosana kwa sababu hajakuja nyumbani. You know, should that be something that's done in front of the children, or should the adults handle conflict kwingine?
First, where is this conflict coming from? Because
Yeah.
it's not somewhere that the two are going to pick it. No. It is something within them that is just coming out. And this is happening because somebody chose when he was not truly choosing. Right? Most people, we go into relationships because we want to acquire.
Yeah.
That's why nowadays we can talk about divorce and wedding on the same breath.
Sure.
People are preparing for divorce on their wedding day.
Yes. Why? Because there is a need to acquire, which is not, I don't have any problem with it. But the problem is when it's time now for you to give,
Yeah.
or when the source that you are trying to acquire depletes, is there still a relationship or friendship or marriage? And for the marriage part, I feel like we should be very careful when it comes to that, because most of us are doing it from the line of, I love you.
Yeah.
If it's coming from the point of, I value you, it can be much better.
It's different.
It's very different. If I value you, we shall establish friendship. Love depletes along the way.
It does.
It depletes along the way. So if you're going to establish that mechanism to enhance this value of you being in my life, me being in your life, now the friendship moving forward, we shall never have these discussions.
Yes, that is true. Because it starts from choosing the partner.
And the problem comes when you are going to choose, you say, I'm choosing my type. That's dangerous. When it's coming to marriage, I feel like we should not choose our type. Choose your complement. Choose
Yeah.
your supplement.
Yeah.
Because this is my type. You like reading, I like reading. That's my type. For 30 years we are reading together. Is it not boring?
And it's not really, you're not even adding much value to each
each
other,
other,
because
yeah.
there's nothing
Yeah.
different to
Yeah.
experience.
But I like skating, she likes reading. There is something.
Yeah.
There is something.
And
So
I
most
agree
of
with
us,
that.
we are choosing relationships based on, this is my type. Along the way, it becomes sweet, 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 but along the way, there is now boredom.
There's a shift. And I like that you've said that, because I think in the past few years, my type might be the wrong
Yeah.
type. Because I got to that point where I needed to accept
Yeah.
and say, yeah, Cheryl, you have a type. But do you think your type could be like a good husband?
Type is good in relationships. When
Yeah.
you're dating, you're my type, that's
Yeah.
fine. But in marriage, it's not working.
It's a different thing. And you know, that's the thing. You know, when you're looking for, there's a difference between a boyfriend, a husband, and a partner.
Yep.
There are levels to that.
Yeah.
Because someone can be good as a boyfriend,
Yeah.
horrible as a husband.
Yeah.
Amazing as a husband,
Yeah.
horrible as a boyfriend
Yeah.
partner.
Yeah.
But you need someone who's also like your partner.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
because when it's your
Sometimes.
partner, they'll be good as a husband, good as a father, good for you, you know. And I came across a quote that was saying today, your significant other can be your greatest setback or your greatest motivation. Because if you find someone who pushes you to do better and they
Yeah.
want you to elevate and get better,
Yeah.
they'll help you. But if
Yeah.
you find someone who, maybe you're working out and they're like, babe, but your body looks good. So
Yeah.
why are you working out? Your skincare is your skin is nice. You don't
Yeah.
need to buy all that.
Yeah.
People who will make you feel like wherever you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Don't make so many moves, don't change so many things. That also comes from the value we get rooted back in our families, because our upbringings make us, they either make or break our esteem. And they can either make you feel like I'm confident in being who I am, or I'm not confident, and there's something missing, or I'm looking for my identity in other places. So fortunately, you'll find, like, Sarita, I believe you were raised to be a very confident woman. It's very evident. And I think that's one thing that sometimes people also underestimate. You can have a single parent, but they equip you for life. You can have both parents and they don't equip you for life at all. You know, so your parents have to equip you in terms of your social life, your psychological life, your everything, from even the studies. And sometimes you just focus on school. We're like, perform vizuri, enda shule poa, the end. We forget about when you socialize with people, you should be like this, be a gentleman or be a lady. You know, some of those small things that we miss out on that are very essential for us to operate in society. And you've had to learn some things along the way, Sarita, because some things we are taught by our dads, you know, some things we are taught by our moms, the way you were saying. And if you miss out on one thing or the other, unakaa nyuma kidogo, because it sets you back a few years, and then you have to catch up with the other people who got all that. Personally, I feel like sometimes I don't know how to interact with men, or I don't fully understand men, because I don't know. I don't know. Maybe if I was taught, it would have been better. But currently, I'm learning about masculine energy and how it should be, you know, nurtured, and how I should be around it. Because sometimes we get information from social media. Men should be like this, women should be like this. And I want us to figure out how we can also just learn internally, regardless of what our parents have taught us, regardless of what we've been equipped with, how we can figure out as we're growing up, this is the best form of masculine energy, the healthiest form. This is the best form of feminine energy. So I'm going to toss it to Sarita, but before that, let's take a very, very short break. I want us to maybe grab some water, grab a snack, and go to our comment section at Y254 and tell us, do you think so many adults are functioning in society, but they have some unaddressed wounds and traumas that are rooted in broken families? Do you think that is the case in present day society? Go to our platforms at Y254 and let us know, and stay tuned. We'll come back right after this break.
Thank you.